French government is pushing lawmakers to approve emergency legislation to keep the state running into January after they failed to agree on a 2026 budget. Prime Minister Sébastien Lecornu is hoping the measure, which effectively extends France's 2025 spending and borrowing into January, will buy time while a compromise budget can be worked out. Here's Finance Minister Roland Lescure.
It is truly a minimum service that saves time and allows us to continue. We must do better. We must do more. It is essential that France has a budget in 2026 with a deficit for all public administrations of less than 5%.
Well, France 24's Clovis Casali is here with me on set to help break this story down. Clovis, is there any chance that this special law won't pass?
No. The MPs will vote in favour of this law because it enables the French state to continue to function properly, or at least prevent a shutdown like in the US. So public servants, public service workers will still be paid. Schools will still be open next year. Everything will run smoothly thanks to this special law. It enables the state to continue to collect taxes and also finance the administration and public services. The budget for 2025 is in a way extended to January and until there is a new budget for 2026. And yesterday in the cabinet meeting, the French President Emmanuel Macron said it very clearly. There's a need to vote a budget as soon as possible. And he told his ministers it needs to be voted really in January. Why? Because without a new budget for 2026, you can't implement new measures. You can't say build new schools, build new prisons, put in place, give subsidies to households who want to renovate their homes in an environmental friendly way. So all of those decisions crucial for the fate of the French government, French state, and especially the French people. All that depends on a 2026 budget. And there's also a need, of course, to reduce public deficits. You heard the economy minister, Mr. Lescure, say the aim is to get below 5%. For the time being, France is at 5.3% of public deficits. But there's a consensus on the left and the right to get under that bar of 5%. Problem is, what are the means to reach that target? And parties disagree on that.
All right, so what comes next then, Clovis? Are there going to be more debates or negotiations in Parliament?
Well, the special law will be passed this afternoon at the National Assembly, and then debates will resume as of January 5th, presumably. And new amendments put forward by the government in Parliament will be discussed, will be voted, because of course it's always for the MPs to vote and enact this new budget. I mentioned going from 5.3% public deficit to below 5%. That's about 9 billion euros. So how do you make up for those 9 billion euros? Where do you save that money? Well, the French government is thinking about introducing, again, an amendment that will be voted or not in the parliament, an amendment to introduce a tax on super profits of big companies. That's one of the possible measures. Why are they doing this? Because during COVID, for instance, the French government was giving loads of money, billions of euros, in order to keep the economy afloat, to make sure it doesn't tumble. Some big companies made a lot of money during that time. So the French government, the French state, needs some of that money back. And that's why that tax is on the table. Of course, the left wing very much in favor of a tax on super profits for big companies. The right wing, much less, because the right wing doesn't want any more taxes. Let's face it also, there will be more taxes for the middle class here in France, and possibly also some cuts in the public sector. It always depends, where do you put those cuts? In schools, in other parts of the administration maybe, where some jobs are maybe not needed as much? That's the question that politicians need to decide on. It's a dilemma. What we do know, of course, is that Sébastien Lecornu, the French Prime Minister, doesn't want to trigger Article 49.3. That article enables the government to pass forcefully, in a way, the budget without a vote. The French Prime Minister and the French President didn't want that to introduce that measure. They didn't want to trigger that article, should I say, because they really want parliamentary debate to work and some kind of consensus to be reached. But if it's not possible, maybe the French Prime Minister, even if he doesn't want to, will have to trigger Article 49.3 again, because the French state wants to reduce deficits as much as possible.
All right, Clovis Casali, thank you very much for helping us understand that story.